Hey, welcome back to Two Old Crows Homestead. Shelly here, and today we're going to talk about a mimosa tincture, the tree of happiness. Come along with me. So if you look down there, Jessica is actually
risking her life.
she says she's risking her life. I don't know about all that mess. But Jessica's down there with a mimosa tree that's out in our field, and she's getting mimosa blossoms for me so I can make a tincture.
Get away.
So a mimosa tree is it's actually a really great tree to have around. And here in Kentucky, they grow all over the place. I would say that most people think that they're invasive or classify them that way. But the more that I learn about them, the more I think they just don't know the benefit of having them around. First of all, a mimosa is a nitrogen fixer. So if you're doing regenerative farming or permaculture, a mimosa is something that you want to have around. Second of all, I've done some research and found out that these little blossoms, not only are they super fragrant, they just smell amazing. They can be made into a tincture. And the mimosa tree is actually known as the happiness tree. I'm going to explain to you why. While I'm doing that, I'm going to make my tincture. So to make this tincture, you're going to need a jar. You're going to need a bunch of mimosa blossoms that I have right here. And they need to be fresh. And then you're going to need 100 proof vodka. So why make a mimosa tincture? In the past, they have been used for various ailments such as diarrhea, constipation, and I'm just going to stick everything down in my jar. What else? Alopecia, which is like balding. I had no idea. They've also been used for dysentery, insomnia, but most often now this tincture is marketed as an antidepressant. It's used to relieve anxiety, depression, and stress. Now, I had read where people use this, they'll dry out these blossoms and use this in a tea or create a tea with it. I talked to my friend Leslie, who is over at School of Earth and Awe. She's also the one that does our herbal classes at our festival. She told me that to get the biggest bang for the buck, you want to make a tincture out of it. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to fill this jar up with these blossoms. You saw on the video earlier where Jessica was out there. She told me she was risking her life for me. I love that kid. But she was out there cutting these blossoms out of a mimosa tree that's on our property. Like I said, this stuff grows pretty prolifically here in Kentucky. You can find mimosa trees just about anywhere. I remember when I was younger, because I've always thought they were beautiful, and I guess they can get kind of invasive. Even the ones that we have up close to our house, I can cut them back a couple times a year and they'll grow back within the season. it doesn't take them long to grow. You have to remember when you're making tinctures, you want fresh plant matter. You're not letting this dry out. If you were making a tea, you would let it dry out, but like I said, Leslie told me that if you want maximum potency, it's better to make a tincture with this in this particular case. Not to mention the fact, I don't know about y'all, but I am not a tea drinker. Now, I do live in the South, so when I think about tea, what am I thinking? Sweet tea, right? However, I'm gonna push this down in there. I'm trying to get it to settle down. I realized that, you know, like herbal teas are herbs that are dried and then used to create a tea. And a lot of people like drinking those. I do not. I don't know. It's just never really been my thing. So when I thought, you know, I had heard about this and I wanted to make some, and I thought that when I talked to Leslie, she was going to be like, yeah, you need to make a tea out of it. When she said no, that making a tincture was a better idea, I was all about it. One more little sprig here that I'm gonna pull off the dry pieces. Some of these are somewhat dry, but most part, no, they're still good. All right, so I've got those in there. I got a pretty good amount. That's gonna be a pretty tincture, isn't it? The jar is gonna be pretty while it's setting. And then I'm going to fill up all the way to the top with 100 proof vodka. And why do I use, there's a bug crawling around in there. Actually, I'm just going to do the vodka and let him float to the top. So why do I use 100 proof vodka? Because I'm going to retain that 50% water, 50% alcohol using 100 proof. So I don't really have to do all of the calculations and all of the math and all of that kind of stuff. Here comes the bug. Apparently he doesn't like the way that smells. You know, vodka doesn't really have a smell, does it? Not really. I can smell the flowers. I want him out of there. There he is. Little drunk bug. And I'm going to fill this all the way to the top. These jars, Crystal actually found these jars for me and I love them. They have a glass lid and like a metal ring cap that goes over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this all the way to the top, just like I do every other time I make this. But this actually has to go down into it a little bit, so let's see what happens here. Yeah, it did come over or overflow just a little bit, so let me wipe that around. gonna screw the lid on. And there we have it, a mimosa blossom tincture. I'm gonna let this set for 6 to 8 weeks in a cool, dark place. And then after that, I will strain off the mimosa flowers and it should be ready to go. Give it a try. You should be able, especially if you live in the area that I live in, Kentucky, Tennessee, around in there. You should be able to find mimosas just about anywhere. I will say this though, like I see them growing all the time on the side of the road, on the parkway and stuff like that. I don't recommend you getting your herbs from places like that. Only because you have the spray from cars and, you know, the exhaust and all of that cruddy kind of stuff that's going down the road. So I don't recommend you getting your herbs or plants. I know a lot of people, like the people who are looking for mullein, you can find mullein on the side of the parkway or the interstate. Any place that it's like funky and stuff probably shouldn't grow, mullein will grow. But the only problem is that you have, you know, chemicals from like the exhaust and stuff blowing up from the car and all of that kind of thing. So I don't recommend you getting it from the side of the road. But if you can, maybe on a road that's not very traveled, like, you know, just a old farm road, rural area, that probably wouldn't be bad. Definitely if you see it growing on someone's property, ask them before you go and forage or scavenge for that. But give it a try and tell me what you think about it. I was going to show you my Peterson field guide, has mimosas in it. So on the tree, that's what it looks like. You've probably seen them on the side of the road and maybe you didn't know what they were. They're just like fluffy pink, almost like cotton ball looking things. But that's what the actual flower looks like. In the field guide, it says, let's see. It can be found, it likes dry soils, anywhere from New York, southward, and west. Commonly neutralized throughout the South. It says that it's originally from Asia and it was introduced in the United States somewhere around 1785. It says in traditional Chinese medicine, the bark and flowers are still in use. Bark is used in tea for depression, restlessness, insomnia caused by anxiety. Externally as a poultice, it's used for traumatic injuries. The flowers are used as a sedative for insomnia. Flowers have components with a potential anti-obesity effect, inhibiting triglyceride accumulation, also an antidepressant effect. Bark extracts have anxiolytic and antioxidant effects. So there you go, straight from the field guide. But yeah, give it a try. Tell me what you think. If you've made this before, tell me what you use it for. Let me know what kind of effects you've had from it, or you know, what good things or maybe bad things or whatever. Let me know how it worked out for you. Isn't that a beautiful tincture? Oh, that's so pretty in there. It's gonna look good sitting on my shelf, right? So anyways, I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Make a tincture. Let me know what you're doing, what you're putting in your medicine cabinet. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Yeah, God bless you. Have a great day.